to the midnight.
Father Coffin.
There was a Reverend William Sloane Coffin whom I met once, and he wrote a book called The Heart is a Little to the Left. Episcopalian minister from.
He was the anti-war minister.
Preached against the Vietnam War. So I was very wonderfully impressed, really, by you guys, your ability to memorize your poetry. And the first assignment I ever had that had to do with poetry was to memorize a poem in 7th grade. And I have never recited it since then. And I'm going to try to recite it now. Woo! And if I survive this, maybe I'll do one of my own. Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and follow one into the undergrowth, although the other just as fair, and something about wanting where. They're really worn pretty much about the same. And I shall be telling this with a sigh, ages and ages hence, that I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. You're looking it up, I know you are. You're going to check this out. 4 lines in that. So I'm going to try to, well, so a lot of times I teach, so for about 25 years now. And so usually I do a poem for everybody, all the faculty at the beginning of the school year. And it's not the beginning of the school year, and far from it right now. But you guys are all poets, or at least fans, or at least you know somebody who does poetry, and so you're here. So I'll do part of that for you guys. It doesn't include the part about coming back from summer vacation. You are nature, strong, gentle flow. Exercise your mind, and your soul will grow. Do your dharma, that is your duty. For me it's rhymes, for you who knows, to set your heart and mind into these lines that flow there for you, my soulmates, not for use in the mean debate, just rhymes to live by, do your thing, and then I will soothe you, smooth you, better than the band who, better than a beef stew, easier to digest and easier for you to dance to. So get the work done long before class time, leaving room for poems, contemplation, and a sweet rhyme. I don't know if I know any more poems by heart. Bob, how much time we got here?
Do another one.
I'll tell a story, just a quick thing. I've had a very weird night. A relative I'd never met before, and still, I guess, have not met, called me up, reached out to me by Facebook over the last week, and called me last night. We talked on the phone and told me that the reason my mom left my dad when I was 15 was because my dad slept with my mom's sister. And I'm like, I don't really know what to do with this information. And this follows on the heels of my mother died a couple of years ago, and my aunt died recently. And my dad's still alive, so I suppose I could check. But I was reminded of this sort of experience of, well, last time I saw Sammy here, I did like a poem about my mother. Yeah. My mother was a dancer, and she was actually, I was conceived in the summer of love during a riot in Detroit, apparently. And my mother was teaching ballet in the housing projects in Detroit in the 60s, and there were riots, and so she was ushered into a van by the Black Panthers, and they drove her out through the riots to make sure she was safe, because she was like with a child, which seemed very Christmas appropriate. And we moved to Philadelphia, and I was born a couple blocks from here. And we lived, my last name's Coffin, we lived on a graveyard in West Philadelphia when I was born, which also has some interesting poetic possibilities. And so I've had all these like odd random things happening lately. I walked in tonight, there was a picture on the board over there. The poem on the back, this guy, Harry Doe, recommended me to become a teacher at Central High School. He had graduated from Central High School, and he taught for 40-something years, and he started to lose money by continuing to teach based on his pension. So, but the last year he taught was at the school he graduated from, and he recommended me to be the replacement. And so I went in and interviewed, and there were 9 people on the committee, and they selected me, and then the principal decided that he wanted to go with someone else. So he overrode the decision. They call him the president, so the president rejected me. And so I went instead of to Central High School, the #1 magnet school in the city of Philadelphia, to Edison for a high school with 3.8 fights a day. And lost more kids in Vietnam than any school in the country. And I like, so is the randomness of life, right? We have no prediction about what will happen tomorrow. We can sort of guess at what happened yesterday. And so I'm feeling very much in the moment. I thought about something that Joni Mitchell had said. She loved Vincent van Gogh and Starry Night. And she said, you know, those painters, they had it easy. You know, they painted a painting and they finished it and it was done. You know, whereas like nobody said to Van Gogh like, "Hey, paint a Starry Night again, man." You know. And here's Joni Mitchell doing like, you know, both sides now for the 40,000th time. But there's something kind of beautiful about the ability to memorize these poems and like live with them in your heart and not have to check the script, you know, and just like yours don't even rhyme. How do you do that?
Insane.
What's that?
Is that I'm a little insane.
That's gotta help, you know. I had students who were on our poetry team, and they would like. I had one guy. He was like the gifted kid you had to give extra stuff to, or he'd bring things. And at that school I worked at, the 23rd most dangerous school in the United States, and he had gone to like the other magnet school, Masterman, and got kicked out for being beaten up, you know, and he bit a kid's ear because the kid was harassing him while beating him up, and so he was kicked out too, under no tolerance. So his dad was like, "Okay, you're gonna fight, you get kicked out of magnet school, we'll send you to this school, the 23rd most dangerous school in the United States." And this kid was genius too, and he would come to these poetry meetings, and then on the way to the show would like make up a poem and be like revising it out loud. And by the time we got there, Christian would just like knock it out of the park every time. And 42 years the school was open. It was between Drexel and Penn. It's now underneath the Drexel building. And nobody had ever gone to Penn in 42 years until the last year the school was open. And he went there, you know. And so did another kid who used to rob the drug dealers for their dealing drugs. He made a film about him. So there's hope. And I'll leave it at that. A lot of random.